and welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. If you're in your early 20s and you've ever felt lost, confused, emotionally overwhelmed, or uncertain about your future, then this episode is especially for you. Today, I'm joined by Darlene Greene, who works in the space of personal growth, emotional health, and life transformation, helping people overcome internal barriers and stepping into clarity, confidence, and purpose. It's so lovely to have you here, Darlene Greene.
Thank you, Sekani. It's an honor to be with you today.
All right. So can you tell us more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Well, I am a retired U.S. Navy commander. I then stepped in, and actually in that space, I had 3 commanding officer tours. My last commanding officer tour, I was in charge of 1,200 people. And while I was in the military, I created a program that helped our military members and their families reintegrate into a healthier place after coming back from war. That is a program that is still in existence today, 20 years later. It went from my command to, I spread it through the Southwest region and helped get it nationally. And 20 years later, it's still in existence, helping people. So I love that because I love helping others. From the military, I went into the space of technology, both network security technology and then the software space. Then I became a dean of a boarding school. Then I went back into the space of technology. And while there, I entered into the health technology space. I'm still doing multiple things. So I want to share with your young audience that you're never pigeonholed and you can continue to do all sorts of things. What I'm doing now is I'm actually a director of client services for a network and security company, overseeing a program management office and project managers. And I'm also a health technology consultant, helping people with their health, getting out of pain, optimizing their own body's ability to heal itself without pharmaceutical drugs by activating their foundational cells and repairing their mitochondria, getting more energy, better sleep, better mental health, all of those things. So I love that space. That's my hobby and my passion. And I actually love both spaces.
Wow. All right. So with what you've said so far, you actually have a whole lot of experience and you've worked in multiple fields. So, I would like to know the origin of everything. What actually led you into this space that you're in now?
Well, my dad was a 30-year Air Force fighter pilot, and he used to come home and say, "I can't believe they pay me to do this." And anybody who's got a job like that is inspiring. So I went into the military. I did 20 years, and I really did enjoy it as well. I started off on a track wanting to be in planes, and my eyes went bad in college. And so I ended up being a shore-based commander, which I actually loved better than I don't know. I don't know if I would have loved it better, but I enjoyed that very much. So the military track was easy, and it's actually been one that I married into, and my children, my daughter went to the Naval Academy, my other daughter went to the Air Force Academy. My married bonus boys, both were Marines, and then one became a Navy pilot. So it's just surrounding me, this legacy of military and service. I will share with you my health journey was not the same. It wasn't necessarily through inspiration, but necessity is the mother of invention, right? So when I married right the weekend I graduated from college, honestly, too young. If I'm talking to your 20-year-old team, just wait a little while. You don't really know anything at 20. You think you know everything, but you don't. So I married too young, and I married before I really understood who I was dealing with. And I actually didn't trust the sounding board of friends or family at that time because I thought I knew better. And I married badly. I didn't listen even to the hairs on the back of my own neck. I didn't trust my own intuition. And if there's anything I want to tell your young community, it is please honor your intuition and your body's brilliance. You have an animal brain that is so much smarter than your prefrontal cortex. So anyway, I did not do that. I did not honor that, and was in a very tough, emotionally and physically abusive marriage that I got out of. And when I got out of that, I had migraines, I had a thyroid removed, I had some physical issues. Then I married again, badly again. I thought I was doing well. I thought I was really being careful, but this was a narcissist. Narcissistic personality disorder is very tricky because it can be hidden, and they're very charming. And on top of that, obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So that relationship took a toll that I can't even describe. Very, very challenging toll on my health. And so coming out of that marriage, I had chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, postural orthostatic tachycardia, where I just fainted. I had 5 autoimmune disorders. And I can tell you, I had a doctor say to me, well, of course you do. You were married to a narcissist. So the decisions that we make and the stresses that we live, chronic stress is incredibly damaging to our health. And I don't know if when I was young, I wouldn't have put that together. I don't think I realized the impact of that daily chronic stress until a doctor really told me. And I don't know if your young audience understands that when you look at what it is that's causing chronic illnesses, it's actually stress. If you were actually look at the statistic of why people go to a healthcare facility, 75 to 90% go to a healthcare facility because of stress. It is just this chronic dripping faucet that just floods the house. So I learned early a couple things. One, the Western medicine world did not have any treatment for autoimmune disorders. And my doctors told me that. We really don't know what to do. Go see a Chinese medicine doctor. Go outside of our normal role and figure out something else because we can't help you. And that was a really eye-opening moment for me. So along that journey, I learned a lot about holistic medicine and how to take better care of me. My nutrition, exercise, meditation, sort of all of the things you're going to hear everybody talk about is so important. But what I didn't know were how many medical errors. I didn't know medical errors was the 3rd leading cause of death. I didn't know that the 4th leading cause of death was adverse drug reactions. So I had to learn a lot the hard way, and I hope that your young audience won't have to do that themselves. Drugs take a toll, and that's really kind of all your normal Western medicine has to offer. So I learned a lot about the alternative path. I did, by the way, finally in that process, learn about my animal brain, how to trust my intuition, and also how to manifest my future, very Dr. Joe Dispenza-like. And I ended up meeting and marrying the most beautiful angel on earth in the world, my husband, Jim Greene. And we had this blissful, incredible relationship. It was so easy, and it was just so peaceful and lovely and fun and happy. And I trusted my intuition on this in a way that I had never before. He like parted the clouds and brought the sun into my life. And we were really happy. And probably at the 14 years of marriage point, he was just 64 years old when he was diagnosed with early Alzheimer's. And this was heartbreaking. And so what do? I go into full gear research of, all right, we're going to do all these things and we're going to cure this, right? I don't trust pharmaceutical meds. They're at 50% of the people that use the drugs that were recommended get brain bleeds. So that wasn't going to work for Jim. We did mold detoxification. We did hyperbaric chamber. We did ozone therapy. We did pulsed electromagnetic frequency mat. We did microcurrent. We did osteopath manipulations. We did obviously a super clean diet, no soda, no alcohol, no seed oils, no white sugar, no white flour, nothing genetically modified, only grass-fed, grass-finished beef. We followed Dr. Bredeson's protocol of reversing Alzheimer's. We tracked his insulin. We did daily exercise. We did hydrogen water. We even went out of country 4 times because they're not allowed in the United States for mesenchymal stem cells in an IV and infusion. And nothing we did made a difference, not even a little bit. And so I finally found something. Now, at this point, I'm a care provider, by the way. Your young audience may or may not be care providers yet, but I want to share with you that care providing is incredibly challenging. So maybe they have a parent that's in care providing, maybe their parent is care providing your grandparent or something. It is very, very stressful and exhausting in a way that only care providers understand. But here's something I didn't know and had 4 different doctors tell me. Darlene, you have to take care of yourself in this process because 50% of the time, the caregiver dies first. Now, the first time they told me that, I'm like, oh, you're talking about, 80 and 90-year-olds taking care of 80 and 90-year-olds. You're not talking about me. And the 4th time a doctor said that to me, I woke up and thought, okay, they really are talking to me. Well, along the way, miracles sometimes come in unexpected packages. We came upon a technology that activates the body's innate intelligence without drugs, without side effects. It's affordable, it's safe, it's in 82 countries, it's used by elite athletes, including Olympians. And we began to use that technology. And from the first week, my husband, who was no longer he was no longer engaging in conversation with me at this point. He was napping most of the day. 3.5-hour naps were normal. He would ask the same question 7 times in 2 minutes. He was no longer his personality. He was not even trying to be funny anymore. We began this technology in the very first day. He didn't take that nap. The very second day, he began engaging in conversation. He was trying to be funny again. He didn't have the right words still. He still had Alzheimer's and aphasia, and it did not reverse his Alzheimer's, but it brought him back to me in a way that improved our quality of life tremendously. He got better sleep. He could whistle and drum again. He regained a sense of smell, which he had lost 20 years ago. His hair grew back. A cyst went away. I mean, so all of these things helped for him. And for me, I was at a place in time, I was depressed. I had a broken foot, a sprained ankle, a husband who couldn't even bring me water. And in the technology dramatically improved, basically lifted my my mood in just the first few weeks, removed the discomfort from my broken foot and sprained ankle. And that had been hurting for 5 months. I improved my sleep and my energy, my hair. I have no symptoms any longer of I had migraines for 35 years. I don't have headaches anymore. I don't have to take a medicine that I used to have to take to keep from passing out because of the POTS. I don't have symptoms of chronic fatigue syndrome or fibromyalgia any longer. So I mean, when I came upon this initially, I thought, wow, this is working for us, but what about others, right? And I didn't realize there are actually 120 clinical studies. This is something that's been really well studied and proven. I began sharing with my family and my friends. And in the course of my time, while my husband eventually passed away this past March, I was able to help other people with their health. If I would have known about this sooner and earlier, maybe my husband would still be alive today. And I share the story because there may be people today who are where I was before. And if they get this technology soon enough, they actually could, in fact, you know, who knows, right? Your body is so wise. So yeah, I that got me very motivated to share. I was actually angry for a long time by the fact that this was not something that was on the news or Time Magazine or any of the things and places I would have thought to see it. And yet when I realized I'm no longer on any of the pharmaceutical drugs that I used to take, neither are the people that I share this with. So when you start to realize the power of it, you understand why it is a bit suppressed in our media, because our media in the United States, at least, is owned by big pharma. And there you go. So it'll be, I think maybe our Secretary of Health and Human Services is getting some restrictions lifted off some of the things that we can say, but it's a wellness product with no side, no implications, no contraindications. You can take medicines with it and it's still going to work, and it's so safe. And that's what I really love about it.
You know, I would have loved to, know more about this thing you talk about. So is there a way you can share more of it? Like, what does it contain? Or like,
So I'll show you. I know we're on audio, but it's a small patch that is light therapy. So Sekani, you are made of light. And if I were to look at you with night vision goggles, as is famous in the military, you glow. Well, I don't have to tell you about light therapy, because you know when you go out in the sun, your body makes vitamin D, or it makes melanin for a suntan. And what this patch does is it has these nanocrystals that act a little bit like a mirror, reflecting your own body's light back into you at a very specific wavelength. And that wavelength, depending on which type of patch you're using, the most powerful patch actually elevates what's called copper peptide, probably the most powerful peptide in your body. Peptides are all the rage right now, but this is one that's not very well known. But if you were to Google it in PubMed, you'd see 50 years of science around. The problem has been, how do we get it in? I mean, there are people injecting it, but 4 injections in a day don't do what the patch does in one 24-hour period. The patches are, you wear them 12 hours on, 12 hours off to give the body a break, like any light therapy, like cold laser or infrared light. You don't want to stay constantly, or the body sort of stops responding. And so you put it on in the morning, you take it off at night, and your body begins getting signals to go to work. When you're 30, half of your stem cells are dormant. So even young people, they're having illnesses and issues repairing because their stem cells have turned dormant. When you're 60, and I'm now 61, almost all of your stem cells are dormant. Well, by activating those, they go to work. They start healing, and it's, this is safe enough. I put it on my grandbaby. I put it on my grandparent, my mom and dad, right? And young people find increased strength, increased bone density, increased reduction of fat, insulin resistance changes, all sorts of energy and improved sleep, all sorts of things happen when you start to signal to the body, hey, do these things. If you just Google GHKCU in PubMed, you can see all the things that this amazing peptide does. In Nigeria, you can say it activates and elevates stem cells. In the United States, I'm going to say it activates and elevates foundational master cells. But you get the drift, right? So that is a little bit about it. There are different kinds of patches that do different things, but this one patch is all it takes, and it can change your life. You want to wear this patch about a month for every decade you are old. So, a 20-year-old, a couple months, a 60-year-old, 6 months. And I'll never stop wearing it because I want to keep reverse aging. My biological age is 40. And that's, I want to say how remarkable that is, because this is someone who had 5 autoimmune disorders and just went through care providing and losing my husband. So I would have expected my age to be like 100. And so it really makes me very pleased that in spite of the challenges that we faced, my body is getting younger and I'm getting stronger and resilient. I'm very resilient.
Actually, I must say you actually look really good for your age.
Thank you.
You look good. All right. So this patch, if I were to get it, do I have to get like a doctor's prescription, or is there a place I could get it?
Yeah, you don't. You can actually get it on my website, and we're in 82 countries. You don't need a prescription because there's no drug. There is nothing going in the skin. That is why Olympic athletes can wear this patch. In fact, in 2008, we had over 300 Olympic athletes wearing the patches. In fact, our whole swim team, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams, Tom Brady, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, all of these people wear the patch. But they did a big investigation because they saw the patches on our swimmers and they were like, what is this? And they tested and they said, no, there's nothing going in the skin, nothing going in the blood. It's just light. So it's very, very safe. It's the body. It's just the light is signaling, hey, wake up and go to work and get your job done. It's time to get busy. So I love that.
Wow. All right. So I'm actually glad this is my first time actually hearing about this patch, and I'm actually excited, right? So I really hope my listeners, because at the end of this episode, you're going to drop your website, and I personally, I'll go check it out on your website. So yeah, I'm excited to hear about this. So basically, like, my podcast is about people in their 20s. So I'd like to ask, what advice do you have for, people in their 20s, to avoid mental stress and other things that comes with it?
I'm going to start by really trusting your intuition, like we talked about, but I'm going to second that by saying, you are really powerful in your mind in creating your future, more powerful than you think you are. So what happens is, if you thought every single thought you had and statement that you had was a prayer, would you still say and think those things? Because they have power, and we can change the health of our body, our cells, our vibration, our frequency, all with our thoughts and with our statements. So be incredibly careful with the words and the thoughts that you have. Learn how to meditate. Do it every day before you touch your phone. Calm your nervous system and listen to anything you can on Dr. Joe Dispenza or Deepak Chopra or a lot of people. They're going to tell you how to change your life, but you really can manifest your future and take control of every abundance, love, like all the things. You can create joy. You can live in joy in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of pain. It was a journey, right? Losing my husband and caring for him and watching the decline. And it's heartbreaking. And yet I choose joy every day because that's what my husband would want. That's what I want. And they can live. I can still miss him and I can still be sad, but I can still choose joy and thinking about others and how can I help other people? And I'm not a victim. I'm not woe is me. I'm accepting of this is the circumstances that I find myself in. Now, how do I use it to the good of others and helping other people? And how do I live today with gratitude? The other thing I would say is gratitude. Everybody needs a gratitude journal every single day. Writing your gratitude journal. Mine started more than a decade ago. 3 things a day. I now almost, I probably hit 10 things a day at night before I go to sleep. So what happens is your brain changes. And as a result of knowing you're going to write in your gratitude journal every night, you go through your day and you go, oh, that's going to go in my gratitude journal today. I'm going to make sure I'm thankful for my podcast with Sekani. That was a lovely moment. And you just notice all these beautiful things in your life. And that focus shifts. When you're living in gratitude, you really can't be that angry. When you're living in gratitude, you can be in a state of joy and love, and the heart and the brain, all of these things are affected by that.
Spoke to me directly. Wow.
Did I? Oh, good.
Wow. Okay. So one thing that stuck to me that you said was if your thoughts were prayers, would you still think it? And I think that's really powerful, because most times we young selves, we always, tend to think a whole lot of things, some of which are not even good at all. So when you think like, if this was a prayer, would I still do this? Then I would immediately reset my head. I'm like, oh no, I'm not supposed to. So that one stood out for me. I love that. And I'm going to put it in my personal life, actually. Wow.
Good, Sekani. And if you do find yourself, you have a negative thought, you say a negative thing, just say cancel, clear, and restate it. You just restate it. And not in a future sense, not like I'm going to be healthy. I am healthy. You can be I feel great. Even if you're sitting in pain, say, I feel great. How are you doing? I'm getting better every day. Just don't own disease and illness. Don't own negativity. Don't define yourself with these negative statements of yours. You are great, and say it and believe it and think it. And if something creeps in, we all have moments creep in, bounce it like you've got the most powerful bouncer on your shoulder, bounce it out, cancel, clear, and restate. And because your body hears you. Every cell in your body hears you.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is really, really insightful. So should I say I would actually love to, ask more questions, but time is ticking. So my final questions actually is what would you define success as?
I would define success as being the calm in a storm, and giving love and feeling love and creating love every day, regardless of what's going on in your world. Everyone has hard things happen. Everyone around us, we don't know it, we don't see it. We look at their social media, they look like life's beautiful. Everybody looks like their life is perfect, but they're not. Everybody's going through hard things in life. And that's okay. We actually transformationally grow because of hard things. That's the only way we actually shed skins and become even more resilient and more capable, because we have to learn and do new things. But if you can, in the midst of hard things, whether that's hard work or hard emotional things, if in the midst of that, you can still have a heart of love and a calm, peaceful acceptance. Now, I'm going to say this because I was in 2 relationships that were abusive. I'm not talking about accepting abusive things. You get out, right? You accept that you're worth more than that, and you get out of the situation. You use your anger or your frustration or the intolerance and the injustice to do something, to act, and to do something differently. But I am saying there are things that are out of our control, and we accept those, and we learn, and we move, and we grow.
Wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate this session. It was amazing. It is amazing. And I hope my listeners can, get to learn a whole lot from this. So thank you for coming on here. Is there where can listeners get to know more about you?
Yes, I do a complimentary session with your listeners we can talk about the technology and what would be right for your listener. We can talk about it in more detail. I have lots more detail. I have to be a little bit careful what I say on social media, right? In fact, I've probably violated a few of the practices, but I haven't used the technology name, so I think I'm okay. But my website offers a way of not just purchasing the solution. Don't just do that. Reach out and talk to me. Let's chat. We can have a complimentary conversation. There's no charge for me. This is what I love to do. So I will be happy to help and talk with people. But the website is iamreverseaging.com, IAMREVERSEAGING.com. And I'll say this, a lot of young women particularly are all about how they look. They're doing all sorts of fillers and Botox and things to look young. There is nothing that is going to make you look younger than your own body's creation of its own collagen. and your own body's improvement of its stem cell activity. This is like the best thing you could be doing for your body and your face and your hair. It is extraordinary. And so, and then there are guys who actually are losing hair at a very young age. I mean, we see guys get their not everyone, everybody is different. So I can't make guarantees, but we see hair come back darker. We see hair come back in bald spots. We see like, I looked at one point like a little chickadee. I had all this hair growth. It was hysterical. It was all standing up initially. Anyway, so reach out to me. I would love to help you. And, I'd love to have continued conversations. Sekani, we can chat after the podcast if you like, but it's just really, this is the best kept secret on the planet.
Right. Exactly. I will definitely reach out personally myself. All right. Thank you so much for coming on this show. Thanks for tuning into Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, do well to share to someone who you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Darlene. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Sekani. Thank you for the honor. You're doing a great job with your podcast. I appreciate what you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.